Okay, so my name's Leticia Pizano, and I'm going to just pass these cards around. You can take 2 cards, shuffle them, think about it, connecting with the Galactic heritage.
My bad. But that one got, and then this one came down at the same time. Do I put it back in?
No.
If it fell out, that's probably a good sign you need it, right? Yeah. The way it goes.
My heart was like,
It's like, I need you. Oh, wait, is this a... I don't think this is a marker that goes on. Oh, yeah. No, so.
I can
watch it be a permanent marker now.
I can use alcohol if it's
I'll get in trouble.
Oh, your pants. Those leather
Yeah.
pants.
I gotta have a spacesuit on.
There you go. I love it. There you go.
I love that jacket too.
Thank you, thank you. You know, I'd like to say that a couple, I always get these pants and they stretchy because I've been a bit bigger. And I'd have to say in the past couple months, through ceremonies, I've lost a lot of weight. Like 2 months ago, I couldn't even put this jacket on to wear it with clothes. It was just like real snug in the arms.
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
yeah, like
Good for you.
yeah, losing a lot of weight, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Not through exercise, but through diet and ceremony.
Wow. Good for you.
Thank you, thank you.
Burn a lot of calories in the ceremony, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tonight, or this afternoon, I wanted to talk about the main beings, star seeds, families that are a representation of who we are in this universe. And I have a booklet here, and it lists about 45 different races, but we're not going to get into all those. I think what I want to do is just kind of start off with the information of like Pleiadians, Arcturians, Orions, the vegans, Syrians, Lyrians, those main ones, as I think those are the most important, because that, again, you want to go back to your galactical history of how this universe was created, because there's a multitude or multiply of universes. We know that. And so I think these are understanding not just who you are as a starseed, but where you come from and how the universe was, this universe in particular, was created. It's very important to understand that. And, out of these other 45 species, a lot of them have their own stories. This one just so happens to be our story as humanoids and where we come from and why we are symmetrical beings. The arms, the 2 legs, the 2 eyes, the nose, the 2 nostrils, 2 ears, So I think that's really important. And of course, some of you probably do connect to starseed information, and in particular some direct nations or families more than others. But we'll get into that as I go through the little bitty thing here. So yeah, is everyone drawing towards it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, coming full circle. And after the end of we'll go over the what you pulled. So you'll kind of get a little bit of understanding of what these cards represent into your life and why these beings are coming to you today, and what it means on the little bit of the detail on the cards. So again, my name is Leticia Pizano, and are we rolling? Yeah.
Yep.
You cut it. Yeah. So, how many of you connect to a starseed group? And do you have a name for those group of beings? Like Syrians
Yeah.
or Syrians, it's pronounced Syrians, Syrians,
Syrians,
Canadians,
Lemurian.
Lemurians, Turians, the Orions. So what I wanted to talk about is a lot of us feel that we are so connected into that, and even I have gotten a part of me in the beginning was, oh, this is who you are, this is where you're from, but through more research and more understanding through myself, through meditation, through work with medicine, we all know that we all do come from source energy. What do you call it? Om, he's Alpha, the Omega, Akasha, God, or the Goddess. I mean, he has many, many names. We all know that that's where we are all originated from. And, you know, I have this little man here because through meditation or through work, through loving self, through plant medicine in particular, you get to feel what it feels like back to being this wholeness. And it's amazing. You know, you're eliminated, you feel your greatness, you feel like a giant. You feel that God energy, that source energy. But of course, this is just a fragmented piece of source. So even though we are all fragmented through our way of becoming in this material plane, or whatever you want to call it, reality, dimension, this earth, human earth life, we are always still this whole, but we are just living in a fragmented, separated type of life, type of way of being, because we have chosen that, right? So first I wanted to talk about the founders. And the founders are the architects of this universe. They are the brilliant, I think they call them Genesis, Neo-Genesis, where these group of beings are hive-minded. I mean, just like right sparked off a creator, and they put into plan, they set up and make everything happen in this universe. I mean, they put out the plan, they're laying things out, they're putting things together, how this, why that, how come. I mean, everything is laid out through them. And these beings are what you would call insectoid. And I put on here insectoid because there's a difference between human and humanoid, right? We are human. And Hugh, you all know about Hugh in the Church of Hugh. You know Hugh is another name for God. So, and I mean God with a big G. God, source energy. So human, right? Because we are created in his image. Man is just simply who we are. Symmetrical beings. Humanoid is a type of beings from other races, like your Pleiadians, your Lyrians, your Orions, because just because they're not look like human like us, they have human like they are bipedal, if that makes sense. They have arms, they have legs, but maybe they have a cat's head, or maybe they have an ant's head, or and you see that through other cultures, like the Eastern religions, you know, like through, is it Ganesh? Is that how you pronounce his name? The Elephant Man. So those are still humanoid. They're not human, but they're humanoid because they have the symmetrical being type of bipedal, walking, doing daily things, living kind of like us, except for they don't do as much as we do. You come here to do some work. Dang it. And then you go into your insectoid, which is your insect races that are on 2 legs. Your ant beings, your praying mantis. So that's what the founders are, and they can be anywhere from 6 feet tall to 18 feet tall. Maybe I've seen a couple of them that were 22, 24 feet tall, and they just come in a very loving way. Usually when I see them, they have a magenta pink lighting around them, an aura that is just very, very loving, very caring. And they said to stay around the ring of the universe as our watchers. They're also known as called the Eternals, Paramantis, the mantis. They're very benevolent, very loving, very just want to see progression, and very, very proud of what they have done. And they are not just architects of this universe. They are architects of the multitude of universes. If that makes sense. So they go around getting everybody together, asking everyone to come in. Okay, who wants to join in? You know, kind of like someone's going to build a building. You have an architect, and they start hiring subcontractors and people to come in and do this, to do that. You know, well, we're going to lay this out. Who's going to do the blueprint? Who's going to do, you know, different things? And so next we go into offer the fragmentation from the founders, because they are the first fragmentation, separation from creator for this universe or other universes. After them, what's fragmented from them is Andromeda. The Andromeda energy is very abstract. It is a non-physical place, yet somewhat physical, if that makes sense. There is no linear time. There is no time continuum. It is, everything exists just as it does. It is all together, very abstract. This they are your sacred geometrical beings. It's a lot of vibration and frequency. They are is it metaphysicians? Some people do connect with them here, and they do incarnate. It's just a lot harder for the Andromedans to be here. They're androgynous, is that how you say it? They don't have a female, masculine, they are just that. But there are a lot of star seeds here. A lot of the times the Andromedans, you won't see them, they'll be half and half as well. Like they can materialize the top of the body to look humanoid. The rest of them is just sacred geometry. They sometimes wear robes or cloaks, and you might look and see them as a humanoid or whatever. It just sounds funny calling them that, but because it's not who they are. I know it's weird, but anyway, if they was to take their thing off, you know, or you was to see them, they would just be sacred geometry, geometrical patterns. That's how they're housed. They don't need a body. They are just frequency. They're just vibration. A high vibration. Then what comes next from them, since we are fragmentations, is Arcturus. And Arcturus is a very bright star, and it's not the actual Arcturian star. but it is a, what do you want to call it? In a higher dimension, and it's over Arcturus, and that is where Arcturians reside, in this other dimension. And you want to talk about your fifth and sixth, seventh, eighth dimension. We also know that Arcturians are here about healing, but most importantly, they are there's doctors, your surgeons, and this is like universal surgeons, universal doctors. There's more universes in the Arcturian constellation or world than any other place in this universe. This is where they say that we enter into Earth and exit from Earth. There's a gateway here to help us move from our fragmented self or help us go back into unity. There's a lot of the times we come here and the things that we go through, the traumatic experiences, it's hard on us, so we go here because there's a lot of doctors and surgeons and a lot of healing places. Arcturians are really good for sound healing as well. Very good for sound healing. But they are like-minded, like-hearted, and also you have your angelic realm here in the fifth and sixth dimension. Arcturians is where your guides and things like that, we call your my guides, my angels, where you channel them or this energy. That's where this comes from. Any healers or light workers, they come channel this energy too. It's all Arcturus energy. There are beings there, yes, but most of the time it is more so we are channeling that healing energy. But I want you to know that even through this is all interconnected by divine creation. So nothing is separate. Nothing is separate. Through all this, it is all connected. You are always whole. But what we do is, through humanoid, we experience unity, then polarity, and then unity again. That's why it is the continuum. It's just that's the best way I could map this out. So it's had in my mind. I need to write this down so I can. Yeah, this is in the 3D sense. This is the best mapping. No, I was gonna. Bear with me here. So our Arcturians are very loving. They're kind of like this blue-looking skin type of energy. Sometimes, again, they are tall too. I see the tallest one probably about 13 feet tall, and some of them can get taller than that. Again, they are healers. A lot of people who are massage therapists, body work, your own doctors here. They are the most influential reasons why we have universities and colleges here is because of them. Because they're all about knowledge and information and training. And their offspring that they have, they continue to just school them, that even the children have more knowledge than some of the adults. And I hate to say adults and talk to them like they're like humans like us, it sounds weird, but anyway, you kind of get I got to put it on a 3D level so you can understand. But so, again, your angelic realm is there. Again, when we pass through and from Earth, this is kind of where we go. However, we always go back to Earth's other side, because every planet always has its other side. Whether there's life, you think that there's life on there or not, there is life on every planet. The planets that we can see now, we know that there is 61, I believe, 61 planets that are not visible just due to our level of vibration. We cannot see them. We only see, how many planets are there in this solar system around the sun? 7? Okay. So there's 61 planets that we are not able to visually see to get to, just because of where we're at, our level of dimension, or our level of consciousness, where we're vibrating, right? They're vibrating at a totally different frequency. But as we move into higher states of consciousness, we'll begin to see them, move into our gifts. So Earth is the other side. Earth has another side, what we call heaven. And we can choose to come here, we can choose to go through this gateway and go to any other place in the universe, or another verse. So most of the time when you say my guide's this, my guide's that, usually these are where your guides are stationed, is what I'm trying. And not to say, yeah, because they tell me don't put a limit on that. Okay, yes. That they're not just always there, but they can be on a ship, they can come right to you. I mean, it's infinite possibilities. There's, so don't limit yourself to think, oh, that my guides and nocturnes and I'm connected to them telepathically because that's where they're at. No, they are omnipresence, or bilocation, trilocate. They can be anywhere. They can be on a ship right here, right above us right now. But also they can be within you. So it's infinite possibilities when we're moving into these higher frequencies of consciousness, of information, of primordial knowledge. I mean, there are no limitations. The rules of the world, I mean, it goes out the window. It's mind-boggling. Some of these things, like Andromeda, like, it's so abstract there. It's this, we could go there, and the best way I can describe it is this: if you take a cup of ayahuasca, you have to be in your inner knowing.
Hello.
And really grounded to understand Andromeda's place of existence. Because there is no gravity, there is no time, there is nothing. It's just everything is all one. And you experience that in plant medicine. Once again, you experience that. And if you have your inner strength and your inner knowledge and your inner knowing, you will know that place of existence. That's why it is so important to be inner strength, inner self, so that you can go beyond that. Because once we start moving into the galactical realms, once we are initiated in our place, our God-given birthright, to be opened up to our cosmic citizenship, that's what's going to be most important, is your inner knowing, your inner connection, your inner being. And it all goes back to, where you come from. So after Octurian, there's another split off of that. I just say, like, this is the birthing of that. So we go from the founders, Andromeda, Octurian, Lyrian, or Lyra. And there's a lot of this constellation has many beings, but this is where the first humanoids were birthed here. So I want you all to know that 99% of us are let me rephrase that. 99% of us have a galactic heritage connection to the Lyrians. And again, humanoid, I connect to the Lyrians, the feline race that is from the Lyra constellation. But they first look like just like grays, it's just, again, a big head, 2 eyes, mouth, it's symmetrical beings. However, through the adaptation and through their genetic manipulation or cloning or whatever you want to call it, their studies, their research, their exploration, they've been able to adapt or change to the environment that they're in. Like we're earthers, we're earth humans, so that's why we look the way we do, because we've been created with the energy from this planet. And the other ones, they look different because they're created with the energy of where they're from. We're carbon based, right? So Lyra has a lot to do with a lot of the planetary influences now, especially through our spiritual growth. A lot of teachings through meditation and working with the light, the prism of light, and what that representation of this, where the prism of light was created, was through the Lyrians, and the basic studies of that, the 7 densities and dimensions. And we'll get into that's a whole nother class because it's just too much information. But some of you are familiar with the seven layers of creation, the 7 levels of creation, the 7 dimensions, and the octave. And we'll get into that another time. But so Lyra, then off of Lyra is your split off to the Pleiades, the 7 sisters.
Can you say that louder, please?
So Lyra, after them, after the destruction of their planet due to the Draconian Wars, they had to leave their planet because I can say that it's not in existence, but yet it is still there. You know,
Right,
it's just
right, energetically.
but billions and billions of years ago, they had this war that they had to leave the planet because it was just totally destroyed through the Draconian race. So they fled to different places. Some of the Lyrians fled to Vega, which is closer to Earth, but it's still in the Lyra constellation. And then some of them went to the Pleiades, and then some of them went to Orion. Then you had some that went to Sirius, right? And there's Sirius A, B, and C. Only C you can't see; it sets behind Sirius. A. So a lot of the nations that are here, the galactical families, a lot of them who are the humanoid ones, they are the offspring, cousins, family of all Lyrians. So, if that makes sense. Any questions? A lot, tandem, a lot. So the Vegans, I want to talk about them. I want to talk about the Vegans, but we'll get to them. So we do want to talk about Vega because it is very important to understand their process and what they go through. And of course, we've all learned about unity, polarity, and unity. Again, this wavelength, it's kind of what we're doing. It's what we've done for eons. That is the whole purpose, because the Creator wanted to know Himself, and He is knowing Himself through us, through everything. And because we have light, because there's light, then we also know that darkness and negativity is attracted to that. I mean, you can't have one without the other. There's a must. We have to have polarity. That's just to have balance, and that's harmony. And Creator sees that, so He sees nothing done in the universe as good, bad, wrong, right. You're sinning, that judgmental. He's just like, oh, my children, I love you all. It's all for experience. It's all for growth. It's all for amazing benefits. So go back into the Vegas. I tend to I like to joke and tell people that's where veganism came from. So they are a humanoid species as well. And when I say humanoid, they still kind of look like what your regular grays. And some of them, and I want you to understand that just because I'm saying humanoid doesn't mean that they're always human. Because different races, there's a multitude of races or beings. So I want you to think about Star Wars or Star Trek. You know, like we see us here on Earth, there's black and white color, you know, interrelated, I can't even talk. That these beings were like the just regular, what we call alien kind of type being with the big eyes, big head, tall, big body. Can't tell if they're male, female. And what they did to themselves was created a way. They had very spiritual, influential healing modalities as well that they shared to the earthers, the people here on Earth. But what they did was got in a war with the Lyrians, even though they're offspring of it. That's why they moved away, because they didn't get into this agreement. They had some type of disagreements, so they banded to get away from them and went to the Vega system. So, and their technology and things like that really got ahead of them, it just their home planet just got destroyed. It's kind of like what we're doing now. It's kind of like we're not taking care of it. We're not being self-sustainable. We're not living like our primordial ancestors did here on Earth. So what had happened was they contaminated their home planet, so they had to go live underground in order for them to survive. And as they did that, their bodies changed as well. And they also, due to that, they took out emotion of who they are, and so developed themselves into another being, and that's where we get your Zeta Rectulis from. They became the Zeta Rectulis.
Say that again?
Yeah.
Can you spell that?
The vegans became the Zeta Recticuli, not reptilian, Recticuli. Zetas, or the Zetas, they call them.
Okay.
Zeteretticuli. Recti.
See that?
And that's who's underground.
Uh-huh.
Someone.
So they were able to come out of that. They were able to, years and years of them battling. And, you know, this is not like it happened overnight. This is like eons that you know, this is just a little bit of where, kind of giving you a general information on where things come, where beings come from. So after, and then it became known as the Reticuli star system. And it was found in 1960s by the teacher. You guys remember? Barney and his wife. They got. They had a time space. They had an abduction. Look it up.
Oh no.
Barney who?
Barney.
Yeah, well, the guy's name Barney. Barney and Betty. It's they were driving home, I think, in Wisconsin. They got abducted, and in the 1960s, a school teacher found. Using her own equipment she made, she found the Zeta Recticuli star constellation. Right? School teacher did. And they get a bad rap because people like to say, oh, they're the Greys. They're the ones doing all the abduction. They're the ones scaring people, taking women and raping them and mutilating the cows and things like that. And that is not true. There's different groups. There's Zeta Reptilians 1, 2, 3. So there's different races. However, because of the things that they've done, they were banned from procreation. Any more procreation. They could not do any more procreation. They became sterile because of the things that they were doing, due to like manipulating their emotion and not feeling and not and they came to Earth, and they also made hybrids. So this is where your hybrid children come in. We talked about hybrid babies. And so a hybrid, most of the time, is your Zeta Reptile and human. Although that's not all necessarily true, because you have hybrids with other races as well. So like you can have a human with a Nocturian, or a human with Pleiadian, a human baby with another race, you know, a human with a reptilian. That is the hybrid children, but we know back in the day it was just the Zeta Reticuli and the hybrid. But these beings have been always manipulating the DNA genetics of who we are as human, of the human race.
Isn't that where Bashar's?
Yes, and I was going to get to that too, because he doesn't channel these beings as stated here. What he goes, because they then did an offspring, or what we did call, as they elevated their consciousness and became the Esasani. And that is who Bashar channels, this group. Because now they are a highly elevated beings. So yes, you're correct. They're not the hybrids, and Esasani is not the Zeta Reticuli. I'll get it right. I just call them the Zetas, okay? Or they're not the vegans. They're like the offspring of that. So I want you to know, when I was thinking, I was like, yeah, when we talk about our forefathers, man, we look at these presidents, they think that they're our forefathers, man, they got another thing. Yeah, that's not it. I think think about the Mount Rushmore, and I see all these alien heads up there and this big lion face up there. I'm like, I'm gonna have to look to see if there's a picture. If not, we need to get an artist and make one. Those are our true forefathers. But I want you to know that every race has had some type of timeline where they've come in and said, oh, we're gonna mate with these beautiful women of Earth. Creator didn't like that. Some of them didn't do it with good intention. Some of them did it when they wasn't supposed to. And that's why we have a lot of the earth. I know in the Bible it talks about we probably only had one flood, and people think, oh, we only had one great flood. Here came Noah's Ark with this big old boat and put all the animals in. Yeah, it really wasn't like that. But anyways, that's another story too. But the planet has gone through many shifts due to manipulation of the genetic coding of who we are as a human. So there's no true human here that is just pure human of the human race, because a lot of us have been genetically engineered, genetically manipulated through different races. And we're not even going through all these other races that we have. I have like 44 of my notes here. But we know that people from like Area 51, they counted 273 species, 300, there's different people who come out and whistleblowers who talk that there are so many more races that they are. But these are just the most primal ones, the beginning, kind of where we began, our forefathers, a little bit of history of who this is, why this, why, when, where, how come. And these are the most ones that people relate to. Why? Because these are your higher selves. Your higher selves is a word that can be interchanged with my future self. A lot of us, we get to thinking, oh, you're my higher self or my future self, where it's up in heaven. You know, well, a lot of the times, because time is continuum, right? And it exists in past, present, future. We are still living that. You know about parallel lives. We are still in existence. It's about channeling that. And I didn't understand this until through my meditations with plant medicine. It's pretty freaking awesome. You get to experience these beings. These beings are you. It's you from the past, it's you now, it's you from the future. It's all existence is you. That's why I say we are all the whole, we are all one. And we are all began in unity. Then we split off to go and find what polarity was. What is the opposite from being whole? And one day we'll all go back to unity, because through what we know through history and time again, that every universe goes through this level, this octave. I don't want to say timeline. But a rebirthing. Just as we are rebirthed, so does this planet, so does the universe. And then we will be off to a new set of way of being. Another life to explore. So the Pleiadians are the seven sisters. And Pleiades is a lot like here, home. And the Pleiadians are, for the most part, in that solar system, or not solar system, constellation. They look like us. They got hair. They look, look human. But almost said 10 toes, 10 fingers. They look like us. Some are light-skinned, some are dark-skinned. Probably a little bit bigger eyes, almond-shaped eyes. They are working in fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensions, but there, it's not really a dimension, and it's just them frequencies together. They all work in harmonious levels where everyone knows everything. They can read, like if I ask you, how are you today? And you say, oh, I'm okay. I was like, no, I know you're not okay, because I feel your body, because we are one. They have that oneness consciousness. And I've said it before that if someone wants to go into their, to one of the planets, and they could feel that somebody had ill will or bad intentions, or wasn't real, or wasn't in their truth or authentic, they would have them people escorted out, because that you are a pollution substance for their whole planetary and solar system are there. Not solar system, I keep saying solar system. Their whole constellation, because they live so harmonious. I mean, you'd even hurt the plants, so they don't want that toxic energy there. That's how sustainable they are, and that's how much they love their planet, their home. And if you want to know more about them, I would suggest reading Billy Meyer's information.
So which ones are the blue ones? I know there's some few blue ones, right?
So your Arcturians are blue. They're more like a cobalt blue. Maybe like this color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other blue ones, and I can't think of their names. not the Andromeda. Yeah, I think Andromedas, yeah, I see them blue, but I see them more like a greenish blue. You know, blue green type. But for the most part, they don't come in physical form. They don't need that. They don't. So they also seeded Orion and Orion's belt. They also seeded Sirius. And again, with polarity, there's always these, and not every place here has a place of negative polarity, just in some places where other species, races come to try to control, to instill fear, to be manipulative, to be, you know, that darker energy to serve their purpose. The most I see that there's negative energy is in Sirius B. There's more negative races there than other places in the solar system. And the Draconian constellation, but we won't get into that stuff. So does anyone have any questions? Ask away.
So do all of those species, or what species, and I think you might have already said it, live on Earth, or like probably a combination of some of those, or?
Yeah, there's a combination of species that live here. I wouldn't say that they're all here in their form because they've all adapted to like being here. That they've also did. So some of us they just look like us, human. They don't look like they're formed from their home place because again, every planet you have to be an adaptation. Take that form. If that makes sense.
Right.
Is it like the movie Men in Black?
Yeah. The movie Men in Black, Star Wars. Yeah. And then there's beings here that do look slightly different, but they cloak themselves. I want to say that movie like Total Recall, you know, where Arnold Schwarzenegger is trying to go through the, he's dressed up as a woman and then he starts glitching out and he has to come out the...
Right.
And they shapeshift a lot. That's another gift that we all have and we'll have when we open up to the cosmic citizenship is cloaking. Shape-shifting. So yeah, the Octurians are one of the most advanced extraterrestrial civilizations in our galaxy. They are fifth dimensional. They are your energy workers. They work with humanity on mental, emotional, and are your spiritual healers. You know, and I was reading this the other day when it talks about us, that we have a level of DMT, you know, when we are born and when we die. And I wonder that, I know that it's probably a correlation to these Octurians and that energy. And what that is a representation of, because we are born in this Octurian energy. And like I tell people all the time, I really do believe that's why babies cry. I mean, I don't believe, I know. Because they come from a place of wholeness and move into a place of separation, unknowingness, blind. But nowadays, babies are being born just into the knowing. Like, I'm ready, I'm going in. And I got this. You can tell me no lie. Don't give me anything. I don't want to hear it. I know. I just know. Right? And that's because, again, we are transitioning. You all know about that transitioning place. So the Octurians, you can also read the Keys of Enoch, the book, the Keys of Enoch. have some of the most advanced starships in this universe. They say that one of the most important reasons why Earth hasn't been attacked by these lower vibrational beings or negative extraterrestrials is because we are protected by these ships. If you guys hear about the blue spheres or the blue balls of light, these are those ships. I don't know if you guys heard Corey Good talk about them with David Wilcox, and he even stated he didn't know why these spheres were here. They're just located all the way around the globe, all around the universe, and they're just sitting there. And not many beings have communication with them, or they could, one can tap into that energy. But these are the Arcturian. What I feel is these are your Arcturian. It's funny they said one of their ships is called Athena. Arcturians, their skin is greenish in color. They have very large almond-shaped eyes. They only have 3 fingers. They have the ability to move objects with their mind and totally are telepathic. Their food source is an effervescent type of liquid. We also know that as plasmic energy. And are totally a liquid that is vitalizing to their entire being. The eyes are dark brown or black in color. The main source of seeing is actually through their telepathic nature, not their physical eyes. Their sense of hearing even transcends their telepathic nature. They have the ability to sense with the back of their heads and see with the back of their heads. Their average lifespan is about 350 to 400 years old. Mm-hmm. And they will be some of the ones helping our medical advanced technology so that our doctors and scientists and people here, or even us, just as healers, can extend our own lives. Because we were genetically engineered to live longer than what we've been given, what's been taken from us, or what's been manipulated out of us. Again, they are highly spiritual nature. They never age, so they don't get wrinkles. That's a good thing. They have the ability to transcend time and space. They terminate the life when the contract has been arranged for their existence, or for when their existence is up. There's also no sickness on Arcturus. It was eliminated many years, centuries ago.
So when they eliminate that life, they just go back to source.
Yes.
Makes sense.
If they choose so.
Okay.
Yeah. All these other places are reincarnation places of existence.
Okay. But you wouldn't necessarily have to reincarnate in that particular place. You
No.
could reincarnate in
No. So once you go from the earth, you always go to the way station or the healing station in Arcturus. Then you decide from there.
Okay.
And like I said, there's
Create a
some places where they just go back to the earth's other side and wait it out.
Great.
Or they choose to go to another place. which we know they're your soul travelers. That you're signed up to go wherever Creator wants you to be. Space travelers. And it's not limited to just this solar system. Finally got that solar system right. I kept saying that a while ago, and I was like, well, that's not what I wanted to say. That's not what I wanted to say.
So this is just one solar system, as you said earlier. Of many solar systems. Wow.
It's our solar system, our universe. Yeah. And it's a lot, because this is just a tiny portion of just that. And there's so many stories about Lyrans and its civilization and its colonization. But the Lyrans, they set out to explore. That was in their path. That is what they did. Set out to explore this vastness. Because there are other places. There's other places in Vega. There's the Altiars that, and I didn't write that up here, but they too, they don't want space exploration. They are content where they're at, so no one disturbs them, and they don't disturb anyone. They are just set. So there are places where, again, we think we don't know that exists, but it does, but it's because they don't want anything to do with us. So then we're not called to be absorbed to that frequency or to that energy. They're untouched. They're guarded, they're protected, and that is what the architects, given them. That is their blueprint. The Octurians are also the ones that created the blueprint for this earth. Before there was any civilizations that were here, any humanoids, they came down into full embodiment to come walk this earth and create the blueprint and the themes and what needs to be played out, what needs to be real. Oh, we're going to create a man, we're going to create this woman, they're going to have sex and divine communication, they're going to birth this baby. Everything that we know is created through them. They're geniuses.
But then it was manipulated because it didn't turn out the way.
Exactly. So then other races start coming, visiting Earth, because everyone had an eye on Earth, because again, it was the new birthing place, new free range, free will. And so everyone wanted to be a part of Earth.
Piece of the pie.
And they still want to be a part, and they still are acting as part of it. So you have your Syrians, who are your African American people, mostly. That Africa people, they are from Syrians. And they always talk about the dogma constellation. And then we have some of these, I can't remember which one it was. They think some Native Americans are from this place too. But there's different races that came and seeded our different races here. And there's still talk about where the Asians come from.
But where the what?
Where Asians,
Oh.
where their race come from. But your Lyrian Pleiadians, that's where you get your Aryan Brotherhood, because the white skin, the dark skin, the better. So that role has been played out. Again, that is a blueprint too, that's been played out for eons, right? The lighter the skin, the highly evolved, the more intelligent, I'm better than you, I'm greater than you, because why? Because the light. Because the light. But again, it's polarity. But that's where that comes from. The Black Panthers and the Aryan Brotherhood. It's just being played out like that. And the lighter skin, the blonder the hair, and then you think of the Nazis and Germany. So kind of played out through those. Time and time again, it's been played out. Not just here on Earth, but through all the universe. All throughout the universe. There's just a balance, and I think, oh my God, this is too much. All this war, all this hate, all this. Oh wait, Creator said it's divine It's in divine peace and harmony. So who am I to judge? Who am I to feel sad? Who am I to get angry? I'm just here. And that's how I'm going to ride with that, you know? So the Lyrians were the original ancestors of our galactic family many thousands of years ago. They reached a very high technological level, but they fell into disagreement and factions with their own culture because, again, so you have these Lyrians that broke off. You know, and it kind of reminds me of like the Europeans when they, the church, and they didn't disagree with that, so then they came over here to America, and then one church started over here, one church over here, because everyone is not in the same agreement, right? Mm-hmm. So we have that as well. It's just their own agendas. But again, and the law of polarity, when you get into that, you start having those tendencies where ego plays in, and everyone gets an idea. Then they want to act on that idea, right?
So could we be from other solar systems?
Yes.
So,
So you've lived for eons. I can't put like you can't say you lived 1,000 years or 1,000,000,000 years because you're ancient. You're ancient. If the Lyran constellation was in existence 1,000,000,000 years ago, and then these founders been to other universes more years than that, eons, infinite, right? So you've lived many long times. I think, like I said, when you're a starseed and you get connected to one race, it's because you're tapping into that particular timeline that you lived, or not say timeline, that particular lifetime you had on that planet, planetary system, that star constellation, that universe, or that you're calling to your you're connecting to your higher self, like they say we are moving, right? Mm-hmm. Through these levels of consciousness. Mm-hmm. We're beginning to connect to our higher self, which is we know is our future self. It's interchangeable.
That just shake my head. It gets mind-boggling.
Yeah, no, it does, and I'm like, what? But yeah, it's a lot to take in, and I'm just not even going through everything. This is just a little bit off the top of my head, but yeah, I could talk about these things for days. Like, yeah, get into all this stuff. It's
So, are new souls being created, or is everything already here and just we're changing forms?
good question. I know that there are souls always being and creating. Just as souls go out, just like they tell you, for every star, that is born, there's stars that die. Right? They go out. I like to use, for example, like your very religious Christian people. Oh, God, they live for God. The priest is just about God, God, God. Those souls usually will go to altars and go straight back to God because they love Him so much. They're here to preach His word. They're here to talk the walk, talk the speech, whatever, and they love Him so much that they go right back to Him and don't ever incarnate again. They're back with the whole. They serve their purpose. But again, yes, there are new souls coming in. There are souls being created. And also, I can tell people, it's not on here, but there are beings, extraterrestrials, that have no soul. They are soulless. Soulless. So therefore, they live to be 1,000 years old, 3,000 years old, 4,000 years old. And a lot of the reptilians, the draconians, are from that.
But they can be reincarnated.
No.
No. Okay.
No, only souls, only, what do I say? I don't want to say humans, humanoids, only beings that have souls and have a life plan, a life purpose to be in a reincarnational planet or star system, reincarnate. That's the whole point of that. But other beings, they're just here to serve a purpose, a theme.
Okay.
And that's what I like to say is that I feel like the lower vibrational beings, the darker ones, are more soulless.
Okay.
And they do not reincarnate.
Okay.
They too go from, say, for example, Sirius B and straight to created when their lifetime has. But that's why they are going around manipulating planets, minerals, because they know alchemy and they know that it prolongs their lives. All the gold. They need those chemicals. They need those what are they called?
Does that mean that
Elements.
they don't want to go back to source
Yeah.
or prolong as long as they can?
Yeah. Why do you think we've been under suppression for so long? Because they don't want you to remember who you are. They want you to think that this is you. See this body?
They're just soulless.
Yeah. And keep you down, right? They don't want you to remember your direct source, your connection. They don't want you tuned in, tapped in, and turned on. I can't get that enough. This is just the truth. They want you to eat these things. They want you to be this way. They want you to doubt yourself. And they want ego to be your friend. Right? They want you to give into that ego. That's why they use so much technology to kind of keep you in this. What do you want me to do? What time do I go to work? Oh, go to school, go to college. Oh, okay. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying the robotics of that. Also, what I don't have on here are your mechanical beings, because there are not just humanoid, there is insectoid and insectilian, reptoids, and the difference between like androids or insectilian or reptilian or insectoid is insectoid again. They're bipedal, right? The symmetrical beings. And the sectilian, they're probably have 10 legs, 10 arms, and they are their insect form, right? Or 2 heads, and yeah. And I didn't think about that, but my kid told me like years ago, like she's like, Mom, there's a porter in the kitchen, and I was thinking, okay, yeah, maybe, all right. It's not for her, it's not for me, love and light. And then a couple weeks after that, she's like, Mom, because we were talking about UFOs and extraterrestrials, and she said, Mom, do you know there are beings with 2 heads, and some with 10 heads, and 10 arms, and 10 legs, and 2 bodies together, and I was like, what? And she's like only 9 years old, and I was like, wait, no, I can't process this. No, just us and beings. And I was thinking, oh wait, there are the Eastern beings, or down in different countries, right? But it was a lot to process even back then, and that was just like 4 years ago. It was a lot. Because why is my kid telling me that? Why is she telling me there's a bird poking its head in and out the kitchen and taking her on this mothership? Well, first she didn't go because it was a little ship and she was scared. And then it came back in a mothership and took her to the star constellation of Pegasus, the Pegasus constellation, and showed her where the horses, the Pegasus, alicorns, unicorns, centaurs. And I'm like, what? Wait, what's the alicorn? Like, I was like, what's your kid telling you about this stuff? I was like, I just know My Little Pony, but So there's a multitude of beings. Like I said, that's the best way I can, in a 3D sense, to tell you is watch Star Wars. Because it is playing out that way. The light workers are like the Black League, and they talk about the Black League, the Lyrians. It was a formation of them because, again, fighting against the darker. So we would be the Jedis. Right? There is the dark, there is the light, there is this galactical fight. It's been going on before our time. It is something that is so real, but it's something that we've all decided to say, hey, guess what? We'll go down and do that. And there's some beings from these other places that say, no, I ain't going down there, but I'll watch you from here.
Good for you.
And there's some beings that say, we ain't gonna watch you, but we'll help protect you. And then there's somebody like, no, what we can't protect you because we can barely protect ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? That's why I tell people there's like these 5 types of beings. There's good, bad. There's beings that are both. There's beings that are neither, just kind of neutral. And there's beings that they don't have to be good or bad because they are so above that. That good and bad, that energy, it's not a choice for them because they are so highly elevated above that.
So do you think the battle will ever end?
Yes, I do. I do know it will end when all this is reborn and we go back through what will be this, what is this?
Black hole.
Yes. But that is eons from now, like who's to say it's going to be like I can't tell you 2 years or
Yeah.
10 years, that doesn't, the universe doesn't work in linear timelines. It doesn't have a calendar. It's not a
So
universe.
probably it already happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're already there. Yes, you're right. And that gets my mind like, oh, there's parallel lives, glitches, yeah, existence from beyond this. And I like to tell you, think about your family, the women or men. Where did you come from? Kissy, where did you come from? From your mother.
Oh, my original.
What did you say?
Her vagina, yes. Yeah, and so she birthed you, and Kissy birthed a baby, and then her baby's gonna birth this.
Yeah.
And then, so see the same thing with our Father, our Mother Goddess here. I like to call Mother Goddess, Father God, too, even though there's not duality, it's just one. That we are just the offspring of all this, right? They birthed us, they birthed us, they birthed us, they birthed. And so in Native tradition, we know this thing about creator of the creator of the creator, these extensions, this ladder type of, I'm not just praying to my creator, I'm praying to my ancestors, to my creators, right? Gods with the little g.
Right.
That is an extension of God with the big G, right? Those are co-creators. That's why you're co-creator. Creator of the creator of a creator, always on and on and on and on and on and on and on, right? You're just a material form right now, fragmented from the whole. But through your inner knowing again, inner believing or inner knower, scratch that, inner belief is non-existent. Inner knower, your inner essence, your true essence, you'll feel that wholeness. And Bashar, that's why it says make yourself obvious. Let it be known who you are. You are source energy, and that's backtracks to where you come from. So the galactical families are there helping. They're watching, they're waiting, they're coming in. You have more starseed babies coming in than ever before because everyone wants to help. Because we've lived through this robotic thing through the Illuminati. And I used to always think that Illuminati had to do with just reptilians or the draconians or these giants. And it's not. They are renegade Pleiadians. They are renegade Orions. They are a renegade Sirius. They are renegade. They are renegade. Yeah. Because again.
The Syrians too, you said even?
But not. I would say Sirius B.
Sirius B, okay.
Yeah. Nothing with A and C. Orions. They have Orion. Reptilians. The Greys. they are all renegades from the light, right? They're all helping to that theme. Because I always thought too, Illuminati is just reptilians, because we hear about it all the time. But that's not true. It is what we know, and to connect with, like in the Intergalactical Federation of Light, or Intergalactical Federation of Worlds. The Illuminati also recruits. Right?
Sure.
Because again, if they moved from unity and are just got to experience pure polarity. However, through what we're doing, Earth's grandest thing is going to move us all back.
Does that mean that they're going to be moved too?
Yeah, a lot of them have been escorted out. A lot of them have been ceased to exist. The grays, they are sterile. I want to say, our creators of creators have stopped them for reproduction, have stopped them for their species to continue on. Like in the laws of karmic, they like, nope, you messed up. You was doing dirty over here. You being slaves to this race, and it is enslavement of other races. You know, these reptilian beings, oh, these greys, you're going to work for me, you know, and they come form a pact and contracts. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that. But anyways, what was I saying? Lost my train of thought.
You're talking about the renegades.
Yeah, so, yeah, there'll be an ending of that. And that's kind of what we're doing, is you remembering who you are and working with, and that's why they are coming to help us more and more open disclosure, more openness, so that we can be the ones to help unite in this universe, get our power back. But so yeah, I think there will be a time where all peace will reign once again. Why? Because we know that that's where we begin from. And if we're all moving on this wavelength of unity, polity, this cycle type thing, we'll get there eventually. And so your Pleiadian Lyrians are also your Lumerians and Atlanteans. They are the ones who house that. The Pleiadians are the ones who had the Jesus Christ mission. The Star of Bethlehem is a big mothership.
The Pleiadians?
The Pleiadians?
The Pleiadian agenda. And if you want to know anything about that, if you're connected to Jesus Christ, Mary Magdalene, Mary, the Mother Mary, you can look up starseedshotline.com, and Lavender has a lot of work on that stuff. I go to a Pleiadian lineup. They have it 4 times a year in Arkansas, where she reads your astrology chart and tells you your galactical codes through your astrology chart. I believe the first reading is like $45 if you go to the website, but she gives you your astrology chart, and then she tells you a little bit of your planet and what star seed you are just by the galactical codes in your chart, your astrology chart system.
And what's her name?
Lavendar.
Lavender.
And then they have starseedradio.com. They have a podcast that goes through. So we call the Pleiadians or the Lyrians, the Pleiadians are our cousins. And we know that they are our future selves. Yeah.
You said the Atlanteans and Lemurians descended from Pleiadians?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I was trying to get prepared this morning. I was just crying. I just, just reading things and just crying. One, to be grateful. Two, to just know that the play of all these races and themes, the blueprint, everything that took place, everything that's partaking even now, it just touches my heart that, oh man, this information needs to get out. Like, this needs to happen. People need to wake up and know. People need to get out of this robotic thing, because again, we've also been genetically manipulated through the reptilian race, and so a lot of us have reptilian heritage. People don't like to hear that. No, I'm not like them. No. But they are in your blood, and that is a part of what keeps you from being connected to your spiritual gifts. And I tell people all the time, there's a chemical in you that keeps you down. Because they were a big part of that.
Red pill thing?
The Matrix? The pill, red pill? Choose wisely?
Yeah. Which one would you take? I'll take the same one Neil did.
I'm here. So
Right? Yeah, we're in it together. And it is the Matrix. I mean, you read that. It's the 20-year anniversary a couple months ago.
Oh, really? It's been
Yeah, and they showed it at the Harkins in Bricktown. $5.
right. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, go and watch it, and you're like, oh, that's what that was. I know. Yeah, me and it was like 15 of us went together. Me and all my kids and friends, family, and we was all sitting there. Did you hear that? Yeah. Did you get that? Like my kids are like, Mom, did you hear that? I was like, oh my gosh, the kids get it. You know, it's like, so it's amazing what we're doing as a community, raising our consciousness, getting everyone understanding, and not understanding, because that's an understatement. That's under you. We're moving before that. It's understanding this information, understanding it, because what is all out there is in you. We know that through quantum physics, through pure truth, that all that is in you. It's all happening in you. It's the internal part and the external part. So a lot of these beings are external explorers, and some of these beings are internal explorers. The first Vega race, they were internal. They didn't care about anything out there. They just kept to themselves until some of them got thinking. What's different from this? What's different from love?
Can a reptilian come back to the light?
Yes, all beings can come to the light. Yes, they do give up the white flag and say, I'm done sometimes. Done. And then they will work with the Galactic Federation of Light. You people hear about Ashtar Command. And the other, there's Syrian, Orion councils. You know, you hear about your councils, your nations, your alliances, your association of worlds, your association of universes, associations of multiverses. I mean, there's beings that are not even from this universe that have traveled here to help, because they know the importance of the growth of this universe for their growth. See, everything is connected. What happens in our universe affects our neighbor universe, and so on, and so on. If that makes sense.
So, I don't know. Never mind.
See if you can put it into words.
All right. Is source energy? Oh, jeez, how do I say this? Hold on. Is that what makes up all the other universes too?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
He, she is the one. That's what omnipresence is.
So we're just.
I am one, but I am
fraction.
everywhere. You are everything, yet you are nothing.
So Earth is literally a reflection of the universe in a repeat, like a faster time scale, basically.
And so that's why we go through the 7 dimensions. the 7 chakras, the 7 levels of creation. We all start, even at birth, protons or whatever you want to call it, on the microcellular level, subatomic, whatever you want to call it level. I'm not great Braden. I can't get into that. I just keep it simple, and that's what they tell me. Just keep it simple. You're not supposed to. You just keep it simple, because life is meant to be simple. But yeah, Greg Braden, look him up, read his stuff. He talks a lot about, and I don't have it on here because that's another class. He talks a lot about the Andromedans. They're the ones that created the Nazca lines. They have a lot of that. So he talks a lot about them when they did become physical and come down here to help in those timelines. But yeah, we all are Earth. Everything of creation goes through these dimensions. Everything is created. Everything starts out just a little bit and goes beyond that, if that makes sense. Even as babies, right? When we're in our mother's ovaries or swimming around in our dad's, we become one. We become created. Right? We're collecting information, collecting ourselves. Then we're born, right? We become physical beings, physical symmetrical beings. And we move through these different levels, right? Right now, like we say, we are in this level here, the 3rd dimension, right? Plant kingdom is here. We know that because plants don't have an ego. Right? And yeah, I don't want to get into all that because it's a lot of information. So there's existence in every one of these levels. We know that. Some of you probably had classes with Wilhelmina. She talks about that. Sylvia Brown has a really good book called The 7 Levels of Creation. She goes into a lot of that. She was my favorite medium. I don't care how many times she was wrong, because we're only tapping into the Akashic records at that moment. Things can change. We're not 100% on the spot, right? But we are moving to a better existence to be 100% on the spot, right? Because then we won't be just human. We'll be spirit. The embodiment of that true essence, so we're not guessing, right? So any other questions? So as we move into this ET or advanced civilization, or what they're going to be teaching us, or the 5 interests, what they're doing is transportation, including anti-gravity, energy production, including over unity devices, communication, both superluminal devices and consciousness communication, medical, including cures for human illnesses and resulting in the life extension, consciousness, including a better understanding of the spiritual nature, moving from science to spirituality and what that is. So we know, as intelligent beings, we know these beings are also called not just aliens, cosmic brothers and sisters. People call them visitors, others star peoples, ETs, and sometimes they even say them people. And they're like, hey, we're not people. We're not a people. So they're also going to help us, and they've been doing this, is electrogravitic or anti or counter gravity technologies, 0-point energy devices, superluminal communications, advanced medical technologies, consciousness technologies. And we're moving to open disclosure. We see that people were talking like, oh, we want disclosure, we want disclosure, we want disclosure. And disclosure's been happening for eons, since the 1940s. It's been happening. You just have to research and look for it and find it. Most importantly, is do your own research, practice your meditation, move with your ascension process, work with plant medicine. I always have to throw that in there because it's a faster, accelerated way to experience all this and even beyond, because I'm just putting this in my little bitty human terms. But there's so much information that goes beyond what can be interpreted through the human English language. Because through these medicines or meditation, you understand why, the how, the when, the why. Who did it? Why, when, where, and where? Why? What for? You understand that. And it's a beautiful thing because then you know exactly that you are the whole embodiment. And all truth and all knowledge will set you free. Free from fear, free from dogma, free from any burdens, free from any suffering, self-imposed stuff, free from your archetypes, free from beliefs, free from programming, conditioning. You know why the things are the way they are. And your life becomes so much better. And that's what they want for us. They want us, our cosmic brothers, our galactical teens out there want us back to unity. They want us to know our importance because the human race has been here for eons. Like, we've been wiped out so many times, but guess what? We are the strongest, the earthers are the strongest beings because we continue to survive. And Earth has loved us that much and we forget about her. We forget about her. Ways of teaching her, the ways of loving her, the ways of talking to her. We forget about plant kingdom. We forget about all these kingdoms that God, our creators, have extended out to us. We forget about those things. Again, because of this, right? Because if we're out there in nature, we're out there loving, and we're doing our ritualistic healings, we're doing these things, then we don't have time to be making money for somebody else. We don't have time for enslavement, right? Mm-hmm. But you think through all the floods, and there's been many floods before Noah's Ark, and the story of that. Right, the human race still existed. They still survived. There's perseverance. Our earthers, our whole existence has so much faith, yet we have been it's been taken away from us. It's told it's not true. But when we open up to this, we know that, man, life is coexistent. Life is continuum. Because Creator promised us that. We are made in His image. We are whole, even though we are fragmented. Right? We are fragmented images of Him, but no matter what, you take for instance, you take a glass ball or a mirror ball and you break it up, it is still, all those pieces are still part of the whole. So we are those little pieces, still of the whole. And that's what we're trying to remember. And that's what our galactical families are here to help us remember. Who you are. Remember this. Hey, you went through this war with us in this lifetime. You did this, you did that. But you persevered. You're strong, you're beautiful, you're magnificent. You can do it. And I just got cold chills. I'm just like feeling the Holy Spirit. Hallelujah. No, I'm just kidding. But they love us so much. These Essasanis are, again, the humans plus the Zeta Rectili. And they, again, are back in unity. But look what they went through. And I say the hell that they went through. They caused themselves self-imposed. And now they're this beautiful race trying to instill courage and strength and knowledge into us to remember that we too can do it. The Pleiadians cheering us on, you know. I work with the Universal Alliance, and it's just a group of all beings from the universe and more that are just cheering us on daily, on a daily, you know. So they talk about this. So yeah, there's this, once we have this openness to ET disclosure, that there will be so many significant changes. All knowledge will be there. All people will be like, oh yeah, I had this ET. You'll hear stories from so many people come out the woodwork. And ET contactees, it will be so normal. It will be so acknowledged. So that time has coming in occurrence, and it has occurred. So there will be no going back, and people will wake up and people will know. So, but ultimately, this will be a very good thing for the human race as we take our place among the races of intelligent beings in the universe. We will have graduated from this place of existence. But most importantly, they want you to remind you that you feel connected to a starseed place out there, but they want you to feel connected much so to Earth, because she is your home place, because you are here. Remember, you are a starseed of Mother Earth as well. Remember her. Love her. Love your neighbor. So important. So important. And so I think that's it. If you have any questions, I think because I talk too much. So I wanted to go over, because I know some of you have questions about abduction. Just real quick, we'll kind of roll through this right quick. I have put something down for the abductions from the point of view from an abductee, right? From the point of view from an abductee, because it's their point of view, right? This is the unwilling detainment by various extraterrestrials groups for the purposes of 1, study, 2, genetic sampling, 3, developing hybridized programs, 4, maintaining and for maintaining and, did I say 3? Tracking of genetic family histories. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. 5, human maternal response observation. Human maternal observation. And that got me when I read that, and I was like, oh my God. I have all those babies. And other babies, yeah. 6, observation of neurological responses to emotional stimuli. 7, communication and other purposes, including 8, the instillment of fear and terror, which is believed by the negatively oriented extraterrestrials to halt the development or acceleration of the abductees and of the mass consciousness. So we know Zeta, Rec, to whatever, Zetas, they abduct people for all of them numbers except 8. So they, and I can send this to you guys, so you'll have it.
So is it true they don't do any more abductions now? Is that, I've heard that, but
The Greys don't. They cannot.
Okay.
Because again, right? They kind of moved out of that. But a lot of them are being escorted out and being put in what we would call jail, prison,
Right?
galactical
Whatever.
prison.
Okay.
So yeah, so that is, but there are other beings
Like
like
the Zetas still can.
physical Syrians that are negative. They abduct for reasons 1, 2, 3, and 8. So you think physical Syrians abduct
That'd be-
to instill fear, terror, which is believed, right, by these, to halt acceleration of their person's alignment or knowingness. And they feed off of those things, right? We know that. Pleiadians, they do it just for study, developing hybridization programs, observation of the emotional stimuli. 7, communication and other purposes. Positive, right? Grays is just the instillment of fear. Physical Orions that are negative is the same thing, just the instillment of fear and terrors. Yeah.
There a way to block them?
There is a lot of that has been taken out so that they cannot do that. Why? One is because we're moving out of this 3D thing, so that can exist. This 4th dimension, only truth can exist, so that has nothing, it doesn't fit in, right, with what that is. So yes, a lot of it has ceased to exist.
So it's moving to 4th dimension.
Yeah.
How do
Well,
you know if you have?
we kind of are in this 4th dimension. I like to say we are, because if you're experiencing life and you live out in the country and you get an organic produce line through the dollar store, you know, that's 4th dimension. How do you know you're 4th dimension?
No, well, that or abducted.
Well, that you have been. We'll put it in past tense because it's have, right? And it's not about being abducted. I tell people I don't even like that word. You
Or
know, it's
used
like-
or whatever.
Worked
on. Tested. Tested.
Yeah. You're a contactee.
There you go.
You're a contactee for these races. Usually by marks on your hand. See, look, I have a red mark there now. I have these red marks on my
Woman. No.
On my
She's got a
body for sure.
Or you'll have little bruises. You know, you'll have bruising when
I have
you
tons
haven't.
of bruises. Like with 3 fingers, like
Yeah,
Yeah, we
3 dots,
probing,
triangle shape.
putting you through their machines. Just like little red dots. Okay. And they can be wherever
Does
they
it have to
are.
be on the palm or? Because I get them right
It
here.
could be anywhere, because I get them up here, I get them on my back, I see them on my husband's back. See, there's a little red dot there, and there's a red dot here,
I'm not.
but I have more here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And you have them too on your hair.
So what is it?
It was that one's
So-
got smaller, but it was a lot bigger.
Those are what they would inject you, injection sites where they would, you know, kind of like the Men in Black, they say, look here, look in here. So it's just a fluid to help you or make you not remember. One, they don't want to traumatize you because of all the bad rap, right, that abductees get, contactees get. They want to traumatize you. Two, if you experience that, and some of us don't want to come back. Some of us want to stay. And it's just the purpose of, again, all these 1 through 8 reasons, right? But that's how you can tell. Or also, like I say,
They'll be all over.
burns or what is it called? Bruises. Bruising in areas where you think, oh, how did we get this bruise here? I don't even know why this is there, but it's there. But there's no hurt, there's no pain, you know, things like that. I usually get them on my legs here, you know.
I sent you
Yeah.
the picture.
Usually in
It's just
twos.
weird. I'm like, why would I have one there? Or I had
2s or 3s.
one here, and one over here, and then 3. Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah. Usually my daughter gets them right here on her back, Leilani. She gets them.
Really?
So they can just be performing energy healing, helping your body, helping you make the transition, helping you to remember, coming in, fixing your DNA coding. You know. So
Sorry.
it's nothing that I say take to be fearful, to instill fear. No, it's not about that. They're not about that anymore.
So I was listening to a Bashar interview one time, and he said that people who are quote unquote abducted, or what did you say, a contactee, actually chose to do that.
Yeah,
in
so that's why I say
a past contract. So it's like, while you may not consciously remember that in this life, so you freak out, you did choose and sign up to be a part of that, whatever, that study or that, you know, DNA sampling or whatever it may be.
even the terror, even the terror. You know, no deed goes unseen. I don't care if it's good or bad. Creator already knows it's going to happen, because if you're part of that creator, if you're part of the whole, then you too knew it was going to happen at some level of existence. And then you think, dang, do we really have free will?
Yeah.
Because Earth is supposed to be free will.
Okay, don't say that.
There's more questions.
Another rabbit hole.
But again, if you know you're knowing, you know this light, that is your free will knowing. You are blessed, you are protected, you are great, you are powerful, and nothing can touch you because you are unstoppable. You are untouchable. Yes, I'm talking to you.
No, I heard a foot stomp, so I was like, what was it?
You know, so again, yes, it is true. But yeah, Bashar, I love Bashar, everything. Yeah, I listen to him, Chiron, and I just sit there and cry, because it's just like loop of truth, of truth, of truth, of truth, and everything. Everyone has a story, and this is just a little bit. I mean, there's stories of the Draconian, there's stories more of Syrian that go in depth and in detail. You know, this is just a little bit. So I would recommend you reading The Prism of Lyra. Prism, Prism of Lyra.
Prison or prism?
Prism, Prism. It is on YouTube as an audible. It's like an hour long, but it's wonderful. Even the book to have is awesome. And it's by Lisa Holt, Lyssaholt. Yeah. Okay.
Let's talk about our cards.
Yeah. So what card is it that you have?
I have Lemurian era and then self-discipline.
Okay, so which one was first?
Lemurian,
This one was first?
yeah. And I've been told that I was not on Atlantis, I was on Lemuria.
Yeah. So this is just divine confirmation of that, working with Earth, those Earth energies, and that's what you're still doing. Because even though existence has passed, it's still in existence. So that's kind of what you're moving into, is bringing that Lemurian energy back into what's going on now for your elevation of consciousness. And it's 11 cards, so we talk about self-mastery.
And that's my life number is 11.
Yeah, self-mastery. You've mastered. So bring that mastery into this lifetime to help move through the world and your own self-discipline. And then this says you have a lifetime in Vega, which is a really good. And that Prism of Light, that will help you learn more about Vega.
Okay.
Get more information.
Okay.
But definitely that's what you're bringing into the world and what you're doing now is your own self-discipline, and also to teach self-discipline.
I need to teach it to myself.
Yeah. Because that is a bit of your responsibility. Oh, keep those. Okay. Oh, nice. I knew you was a hybrid. I'm kidding. So this is talking about your past lives with Zeta and working in their star system. And this is what you're doing today in this world, right? And you had a lifetime of experiencing rejecting emotion, a lifetime of survival fears, and in this lifetime, maybe you had a little bit of that in the beginning, but you've moved far beyond that. You know, so that's what they're saying is the foundations of that rejecting emotion has been crumbled. It's been shattered. You no longer reject them, you embrace them. Right? That's what they're talking about, and that's what the Zeta Rectilis is also giving you gratitude for. Thanking you through you, they have been healed. It gives me cold chills to say that, you know. Through you, you've let them know what emotion feels like. Through you, you have given them that information. So you probably had a lot of contactee time with them, giving them information. What does this emotion feel like? And you've been so emotional. And what are these emotions? Why am I feeling this way? Dude! Because you are giving them, you're feeding them that. Giving them that information. Whew. Voicing that to them where they had no voice or choice. You know, they didn't want to voice it. They didn't want a choice. They just took it all out completely. They didn't want to know what love is. They was tired of it. But it also went to their own loss of their own self through their own hive mind, their own like mind, like heart type of way of being, and made them go down into the dark, eventually driving them under, you know, under the ground, like we talked about, living underground and scrambling to find a way to get back to what emotion was and how important it is. And you've been that ambassador for them. So good job to you. You know, you're doing good. And these survival fears, that's what it talks about. We have the growth, we have a 3 and a 0. We have growth and expansion and the Omega, new beginnings. They don't have to survive on fear, that they could survive on love. And that is your mission, to show people that. And that's exactly what you're doing. Because you've learned from the past, and we're not going back there. Right?
Yeah.
You ready to go?
Which
like that.
Oh, was this like this?
First, second, and third, yeah.
So Orion light, and these cards are focusing on the light, the higher vibrational, right? But what is higher vibrational? Anyways, emptiness, 10889, Orion light, your future, emptiness. So we're talking about in the future lifetime, you're living this emptiness. And you know, Orion, they too were this place of reincarnation, but through their technologies, their advanced technologies, they created a plasmic or energetic net to keep souls from going out. To keep the souls from going out to incarnate anywhere else. So they can only incarnate there because of the control. The repression that they had, and it was kind of like communism there. There was still spiritual beings, there was still shamanism, there was still things, and their shamans and their light workers or their elders would find ways to break holes in that net so souls could leave. And a lot of that Where did they come to? Where do you think they went? Yes. So that their history and information and their ways of ancient healing, their shamanism work can still be instilled in it, and I see it in some of our indigenous tribes, indigenous peoples. So what that is, that emptiness, because they were broken. The life was taken out of them because they were enslaved that harsh. A lot of them, they withstood that, they believed, they knew somehow, some way they'd get through that, right? So your future self is not having to feel that emptiness, and what does that emptiness represent, right? Because if we're always feeling emptiness, which most of us do, right? We don't feel the whole, right? So then we feed it through food, we feed it through other things, addiction, we feed it through other stuff, right? To feel whole, feel good, fill us up. But through love, because that's the heart space it's talking about. The love that they had for Creator, the love that they had for themselves, the love that they had for even the ones who were suppressing them. They were intelligent and they made a way to be the Orion light. In here in the middle you have right now Vega presence, and it talks about logic and reason. Logic and reason. And this is, right, my foundations against someone else's foundations. Where are my foundations at? What am I reasoning with? What is logic? Is anything logic? So presently, that's what you're dealing with right now at the moment. They said, this is right now is what we're working with you. Is your logic and your reasoning through life, through the grid, the crystalline grid, through your own blueprint, reconnecting to that, what that means to you. Is it your blueprint you're living, or is it the blueprint of someone else? Is it your thing that you want to move on and reason with, or is it someone else's? Right? So the Orion light says, right? Because here we have emptiness, and if you see emptiness, there's a hole missing in the. Here she has logic and reason, and there's just someone that's kind of like an entity hanging itself. Here they're telling you about your light of awareness. Through the Orion light, right, they're giving you this candle, this information to feel that wholeness again. That's your future self, because you have helped them. You are part of one of these souls that escaped this harshness. And you're reliving that life in this lifetime, right? Suck it all out of you. Give you a whole different identity that is not yours. So it's up to you right now in these moments, in this time being, to know who Kissy is. Right. And work with the Orion light. Who is the Orion light? It is you. Calling on your higher self, your future self. Because you have helped save that planet. You have helped save that nation. And they are helping them. Thank you. Remember who you are.
Sorry.
She's not sure.
I'm tired.
I love this card. I love this card. Which one was first? Serious, ladies?
The calling our parts home was first, and then the contact.
That's a beautiful card. I love that card. In fact, I love all these cards because I love it all. We can't love one without the other. I just love it all. Calling our parts home. It's a self-mastery card. Talks about what you have mastered in the future, right? Calling all your parts home. Who am I? Where I come from? What is all this? Calling all my parts home. Sirius being on that in the Syrian working with that energies, working with those beings. But calling your parts home, what does that mean to you? Who am I? What are my parts? Where am I from? What do these things mean to me? And did I experience other places that were far yet darker than what I wanted to? Still a part of you. The darkness is still a part of you. See, some of us think we always just incarnate to the light. Some of you too probably been a part of the Illuminati. Some of you too probably been down and did dirty work with the demons. You know? Polarity says we have to live one without the other. If we lived tall in another lifetime, we gotta live short. Dang it! Right? So that's what he's saying, calling all your parts home. Everything that was you, everything, good, bad, ugly, well, that. It is you. And I'm sure you probably experienced that in your own time with medicine. Calling your parts home. Calling the parts that were fragmented from your own self-identity as well. That's been shattered. Picking up the pieces to that. This is mine, because this is truly me, because this is authentic me. Not just because I think it looks like me, because I like it. We can like anything. But is it truly us? Mm-mm. Calling the parts home here in the heart space. That's what feels good. Right? That's where truth is. Open contact with the Pleiades. You've had that open contact. You've had open contact with your future self. This card is telling us so. And it's the feeling of tiredness. Okay, where is it? What are you doing? What is this cat and mouse thing? Come on now, just give me the real deal. Let me remember, man. You know, and that's all you gotta do. Exactly tell your higher self, future self, just that. Help me to remember. I want to know. Help me to remember these contacts. Help me to see. Help me to know. It's that simple. That easy. And I get coaches. You know, connecting with the Pleiades. 7 sisters. I have a book called The Pleiadian Agenda I would recommend that you read. I have that at the house too. You can read it. It's a really good book. It's the story of Billy Meyer. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. It's the guy from Switzerland. Had contact with the Pleiadian beings. So much information in that book. I read that book and I just start crying. Because yeah, I too connect with the Pleiades. I love it. So open contact, that's what they're saying, and that's what they're preparing you for. But call the places home. Call all your pieces home so that you feel full for that reunification, for that total embodiment of that. You're ready. They know you're ready. Even though your heart's kind of like, I feel it. It's okay, breathe. They're not going to just beam in right now. It's like, can you wait?
I ain't worried about right now. I'm tonight.
Believe me, my first ayahuasca ceremony with Brian here, because I know he's got a lot of Pleiadian stuff too. I had opened my eyes and I made sure I laid by Brian. I sat there and I laid there and I was thinking, and Haley took me to the bathroom and she brought me back another lady. And I said, you know, I've been waiting for you all my life. I said, I knew it when I was 8 years old you was going to be here. I knew. You came and visited me when I was 8 and I didn't remember. You and Brian, y'all was on a ship and these other facilitators. You were on a ship and you came and told me that life is going to get better for me and my family. And I remember that night. And then after the healing came, I went back in my medicine, I lay down. I just kept thanking them. And so I got up to look at them and thank them again. And their higher selves, their future selves, were leaving to get on a ship. And they left. And I laid there crying because I knew that things were going to play out just the way they were supposed to. And at 8 years old, I didn't have to be afraid of open contact. That's how wonderful this place is. And that's why I said, I said, man, I'm not trying to force it or be dogmatic about it, but it opens your heart to all infinite possibilities of all time continuum in a much accelerated way. That fast. So much work. So, can happen. Orion, seduction and addiction. I'm curious to see what this seduction and addiction is. I'm going to read from it.
Me too.
Seduction and addiction. Each time we engage in a habit or thought pattern, it grows stronger. We eventually crave the fulfillment of the habit like a drug. The thought of fulfilling the habit acts like a seduction for the ego. It must engage in this behavior pattern in order to feel normal. This is true for our addiction to polarity, judgment, and categorization. We are compelled to judge everything we see or experience in order to make sense of reality and feel safe. But if our consciousness, and thus our planet, is going to transform, we must learn to resist the seduction of this addiction. We will shift us to a transcended state. So this card is referring to a time in history where you were in the Orion, and this is a present moment. So this is talking about a higher self of your future self. When trying, but you said this was the first card, right?
I don't remember which was first. The Lyra might have been first.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I gave them to you backwards.
The Lyrian might have been first? Okay. So we'll just go with this, that when you're trying to heal the polarity in their civilization and their consciousness, they were eventually successful, but it took a lot of self-exploration in order for them to stop reinforcing old habits, old patterns of polarized thought. As long as polarized thoughts exist, beings are never free to live as their true lives. Fully integrating awareness. So what is polarized thought? It can be obvious, such as viewing reality through the lens of good and evil, or it can be subtle, such as unconsciously seeing yourself as separate, bad, lacking, non-deserving, and so on. As long as we allow the polarized thought to determine our awareness, it's like feeding an addiction that only craves more and more polarized beliefs in order to survive. This addiction is seductive. It lures you into the trap of self-sabotaging beliefs and behavior and stops the process of awakening. This card came up. Look at the other cards in theme, and we see we have Lyra, arrogance. And Lyra is present also. And so because that, we say you have a higher self in both of those places. Because again, we can be fragmented, not just here in one other place. Remember, if Creator is omnipresent, then we are omnipresent, right? Because we are Him. We are just extensions of Him. We are these little bitty suns, right? Creators. Then we are the same thing. And we are not the body. Right? We are the same thing. Sorry. So the power for change, freedom, and happiness is in your hands. And it all stems from being aware of how your thoughts affect your experience in reality. The ancient Orions had to learn this also. They succeeded and eventually awakened to a very high level of consciousness. This is possible for you as well. And I think that's kind of what you're doing. This is a bit of your path. This is what you're helping others to do, to get from exactly this. Why? Because you've already experienced it. You've already gone through it. So now this is in your life goal, and that's what they're working with you to do, is to help people out of this same state of being. Lies and deception. And arrogance. You know, getting the folk out of that as well. And I'm not reading because this is a Lyra. One of the more negative Lyrian traits is that of arrogance, the belief that they knew what was best. They were the only ones that knew what was the best. Take lions. That's where that Leo trait comes from.
That's my fundamentalist upbringing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, ours is the only way. Come and be saved.
I was always scared of that. The belief that they knew what was best. In ancient days, they pushed their agenda and beliefs on many civilizations, resulting in dire consequences. Humans have the tendency as well. Often the intentions are good, but the outcome is not. Examine your own inner motivations for this. Examine your own inner motivation for the things that you do. Is there a feeling of superiority? Conversely, is there a feeling of inferiority within you? This is as an ancient pattern. Do not concern yourself with others' opinions or actions. Tend to your own garden, which leads to your true inner peace. And again, being that divine, perfect reflection for the people who are coming to your space.
Yep.
This is the final Lyrian card from this time stream. The Lyrian trait is shared by humans and both Lyrian and human cultures. It is to transcend, they have to transcend this challenge before they can evolve as a species. The Lyrians eventually evolved beyond, but it was difficult. There were times in the Lyrian past when arrogance almost destroyed them. And unless humans move beyond arrogance, we may not only destroy our planet, but our species as well. Lyrian energy in a balanced way. It says, talks about accessing your strong and confident Lyrian energy in a balanced way and keep your personal boundaries in contact. Yeah, keep them in contact. Often we teach people how to treat us through our actions and non-actions. Take a good, honest look at how this thing plays out in your life and take whatever measures are needed to create balance from a place of loving and kindness energy. Which is really good. I mean, again, this exact replication of what you're doing, of the work that you've done in this lifetime to provide that to the others out there that are needing this information, needing this knowledge, and needing to be away from that. So they're definitely working with you.
Yes.
And there is an Orion and Lyrian Council of Light.
They're in order.
Oh, you got 3 cards too.
Mhm.
Returning the favor. Wow, you got a card, and I want to tell you, in this deck, there's only one reptilian out of all
It was upside
100,
down too. I would say.
all 120 cards.
It's crazy.
There's only one reptilian card in there.
Or the universe, rather.
So it talks about the parallel life of being there and working with that primal fear and what that is a representation of. It's a 10 card, so it definitely talks about endings, new beginnings, right? The end of that, as we know, it's moving to an ending of that. We see that happening on our planet now. The ending of that primal fear of what is feeding off of us. Some people are robotic to that. And imprisonment of fear. Our planet is just, So the Zeta Reptilians is returning the favor by working with you to help house your emotions as well. That you feel those emotions. You helped us, so we're going to help you, right? This is kind of like this new beginnings with them, connecting to what that is a representation of. I want to read this primal fear. There are many reptilian beings within our galactic family, but few are hostile. However, because they seem ugly and alien, wow, humans often project negative attributes on them. They represent the unprocessed and denied fears within us. These primal fears create illusions for the purpose of projection and survival, but these illusions are rarely based on reality. This card is asking you to look deep within yourself for the fears that you have not yet faced. Know that they will continue to threaten you until you confront, own, and finally embrace them as a valuable part of yourself. And it goes in talking about, this is another archetypal card dealing with one of the most distasteful aspects of a human being, fear. It has less to do with the actual reptilian species, for which there has been much misunderstanding, negative disinformation, propaganda about them. Because again, tell reptilians are the ones that get it. The reptilians and the Greys get it bad, the worst. Oh, it's bad. Oh, they're bad. Oh, they're bad. And they're not all of them. Just like again, all of these races you see it time and time again in each of there's every race has that. None of these are exempt. Well, I'll just take that back. There are some that are the ones who have exploration race. Yeah, those will have different ones because they are out there and they're getting that vibration. They get it, right? But those who are internal beings, they don't get it because they stick to themselves. They don't need to go out there and explore. If that makes sense. They don't need it. This species is peace, loving, gentle, and very ancient. Those wishing to spread fear about the species recognize the powerful effect reptilian imagery has on the human subconsciousness. A small percentage of people will pick this card will have reincarnational ties to this species. If this is you, explore it further. If this card comes up in your spread, ask you, go through the process of confronting your deepest fears. For only in doing so can you spiritually transform. This card asks you to embrace otherness, an idea or way of being that is different from your own comfort level. In one way, this is a very shamanic card because by confronting these fears, a powerful force can be unleashed within your consciousness that can free you from many old habits and patterns, both in this lifetime and coming from others. This card is challenging you. Can you walk in the unknown and face what fears you the most?
That's big.
Wow. Yeah.
That was a lot.
That's very synchronistic for me right now.
So the next card you hear is the cetacean dolphin. I think that's how you say it, right? Cetacean dolphins. And we know that there are dolphins housed in Lyra, Sirius, Orion, and we know that these dolphins, and Pleiadian, the Pleiades, that these dolphins are also our cousins. We are humans, and they are water humans. So they are our brothers, sisters of Earth, if that makes sense. They are the water humans. All races see that. But they too go and have been placed in other places. So they connect with Sirian energy, they collect Orion energy, they collect Pleiadian energy, Lemurian energy, Atlantis energy, you know, so there's a mix-up. I mean, not a mix-up, but a mesh-up. But so if I was you, I would just kind of connect with this dolphin and say, okay, what planet are you connected to? Is it Earth? Okay. Is it all of them? Or is it one or two of them? Okay. Right? But they're definitely talking about forgiveness and gratitude. That's kind of the things that they do. Just continue to forgive yourself in all the timelines and all the people in those timelines. You know, think of your life today now. What is going on? This is a parallel life, so you're learning these in all your lifetimes right now. Forgiveness and gratitude. It's the main thing. It's what you're the most important role right now. It's what you're learning. Forgiveness and gratitude.
Yeah,
You like this?
correct. I feel that. Thank you.
Oh, you didn't get hard? That's what happens when you come late. No, I'm kidding.
Now you get to pick all of the cards. Look at that.
You get to pick a card. Everyone picked 2, but some people
Knock
picked,
on it first.
had, like 3 of them came out.
I think you. And then shuffle it.
While she's picking that, I just wanted to say on the back of these cards is also a connection to who we are, the all eternal, ongoing, forever and ever and ever. That's what these cards are decoded. So they're coded into that primordial knowledge of your everlasting, infinite, immortal, divine, interdimensional, multidimensional.
First, second, and third.
First,
No, the other way around.
first, second, third.
Yep.
Lemurian era, Earth. Working with it, and it's the same card that you have.
What's that? Oh,
7.
Lemurian.
Lemurian, yeah. You. When I talk about self-mastery, the things that you've mastered, not just in that lifetime, but the things that, again, you need to bring into this, and you don't need to. The things that you will bring into this lifetime from your gifts working in the time of Lemuria. Those gifts, and you say, what are those? Well, connect with Lemuria, learn, read upon it, and then those information, those skills, those gifts will come to you, right? I'm here to give some answers, but I'm not here to give all of the answers. But it's through your work and your exploration of who you are sets you free. Okay? Seeds of polarity, Lyria, and the past. That's what you help them from the past. Seeding them. When I say that, it's probably what you've done. You've seeded some of these, being a mother. Maybe that's why in this lifetime you chose not to be a mother.
Yeah.
Because you was a seeder. You was part of the observation of maternal, helping build other colonies. Being a mother, being the sole provider. Or being the male to seed the woman. That's who are we to say that you couldn't have been both? Right? So 5 talks about taking risks, talks about change. On this lifetime, in this present moment now, that has changed, right? But you have some beautiful babies. Fur babies, right? How many dogs do you have?
5 dogs and 1 cat.
See? So you're still a mother.
Yep.
I get to get up and feed them and take them out. You're a mother.
Walk them, teach them.
Energy transmission, Octurus parallel. And just living in that parallel life, working through that. Working through those Octurian energies, giving them information. Energy transmission. Do you do anything with dogs? Do you do anything like body work, healing?
With mine and others,
Yeah.
but they don't know because
What you're doing, you're helping take care of the dog nation. It's kind of your job. Should be a profession.
not yet.
Bring in the Lemurian and the Lyrian energies to help bring that and bring it about.
I do work with animals, but not professionally.
Because I'm telling you, once you do, life is going to be like this. Your life is not going to be like this. Oh, half a head, only 1 arm and 1 leg. and maybe one eye. Right? When we move into our passion, we move into the things that we are meant to do, our calling, our divine purpose. People, we become whole. We get another eye here. We get other bodies behind us. Right? We are tuned in, tapped in, and connected. And we're enlightened. Right? So that's it for today. I got coming full circle and leap of faith from the Orions. That's what I'm doing, is going by a leap of faith, by teaching what I do, say what I want to say. It's taken me somewhere because I felt the calling. I know that how my life, these instances, these rare occurrences, these aha moments didn't happen for a reason. I know my life purpose, and this is a bit of that. Bringing the communities to full circle. Bringing people back to full circle. Why? Because I'm bringing myself to full circle. And because I am you and you are me, there is no separation. Ever. I am no different from you and you are no different from me. And that's the love that I hope to spread to this planet. That's the truth that I want people to know, to feel it, because I have experienced that through my children, through my lifetime, through my relationships, through my family. You all, that's the important part. So I thank you for being here. Thank you for everything that you are, everything that you do. We're ambassadors. We're going to raise this planet. We will survive. People, we're coming out. Make yourself obvious. You are God. You're everything. Everything, even beyond your own earthly imagination. Believe in yourself. Make yourself obvious. You are that source energy. You can tap into any of that infinite information anytime that you want. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Knowing that that's the truth. So again, thank you for today. Thank you. I love you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's my water at.